In today's video, we're going to discuss whether 401k plans are a scam or if they're not. Hi everyone, my name is Helen. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to discuss whether a 401k plan is the biggest scam in America or whether it's not. So let's just jump right into it. So the first thing that you have to keep in mind is that there are some myths surrounding 401k plans. In the United States, a 401k plan is generally offered by employers as a retirement plan for their employees. It's a benefit that employers will often offer for their employees. Generally speaking, a company will offer a certain level of match. So for example, if you put in 3% of your salary, they may match that amount at the end of the year. The amount that different companies offer and the exact details of the benefits that they give you, that differs by the company. However, there's been a lot of information, or rather misinformation, going around lately about 401k plans. There is a myth out there that it is a scam. Now, you will hear some people who are calling themselves finance gurus, or maybe they're just touting themselves as some kind of business expert, and they will tell you, oh, a 401k plan is a scam. There are better ways to invest your money. The myth that they often will tell you is that 401k plans are a scam because they have high fees. And because of those fees, now you're not making as much money as you can in, for example, life insurance policies, or perhaps some kind of other investment like stock investments or other investments. The thing that is a consideration here is really that when it comes to fees on any investment, whether that be investments in your 401k plan or if that's investments in a brokerage account, the fees differ based on what you are buying. So this is actually a myth that you should keep in mind when you are listening to anyone saying that your 401k plan is actually a scam. That brings us to our second point. Is a 401k plan actually a scam? Well, the answer to that is pretty simple. No, it's not a scam because there's no false advertising. When it comes to your 401k plan, you pretty much know exactly what you're getting from it. Your employer is generally offering you a 401k plan as one of their benefits. They will match a certain percentage that you put in, which differs by employer. That is the basis of it. Now, when you put your money into a 401k plan, you have different investment options. Depending on the employer and what they have chosen as options, you may have mutual funds, you may have ETFs, you might even have the option to buy individual stocks depending on your employer. Now, generally speaking, it's some kind of mutual funds or ETFs or similar types of fund options. Now, the thing about the fees when it comes to your 401k plan, and this is the myth that often arises that points to it being a scam, is that they have different fees, and sometimes those fees are very high. Now, the thing you have to keep in mind when it comes to the fees on your 401k plan is that you have the choice to choose not to put your money into investments that have high fees. If your investment has high fees, of course it's going to eat into how much you're making. But the 401k plans that are available through employers in modern times, they have many different options. You can also choose a low fee ETF over a high fee mutual fund and still get those same benefits of returns, but without the high fees. The options that you have may differ slightly between employers and what companies they work with, but generally speaking, the fees and what you're paying in fees is mostly in your own control. You can choose not to pay high fees by simply avoiding any investments that have higher fees when compared to the other options in the account. The thing about a 401k plan that you have to keep in mind is that nobody is making any kind of claims that you will definitely make a certain amount of money or a certain return on your investments when you put money into a 401k. That is the reason that it's not considered a scam, because you're not being given any false promises. You're not being given false advertising. Now, the only thing that you can guarantee when it comes to any kind of return in a 401k is that you will receive whatever the company match that is stated by your employer when you get your job That's the amount that you can get. So let's say your employer offers a 2% match. You put in 2% of your income, whatever the case may be. Like let's say $2,000 by the end of the year. That's what you need to put in to have a certain company match of also $2,000. Now, of course, the exact amount and how that works will vary, but it's not a scam because you know exactly what you're getting into. There's no false advertising. And when it comes to your 401k plan, they're not telling you you will definitely make a certain amount of money. Rather, they are giving you the option to invest in different opportunities. That brings us to the third point, which is the fees that you can expect in a 401k plan. Now, this is the biggest area where a lot of people call it a scam because the myth is that the fees will eat into half of your income, that you will make half of the money. That's not necessarily true. You do have fees in most 401k plans based on what you're investing in. Generally speaking, mutual funds, ETFs, all of these will have some kind of fees. But the key that you need to keep in mind is that you have control over what you're buying. You are not a victim of circumstance. You're not being forced to buy any one particular investment. You have different options within your 401k plan. Just like any other brokerage account or any other investment, you can pick and choose the things that appeal to your personal goals. So if you see something has a high fee, buy an alternative to that. Don't buy the one that has high fees, buy the one that has lower fees that has a similar portfolio. That's how you can avoid seeing your 401k and your investments getting eaten up by your fees. Ultimately, when it comes to your 401k plan, the key is to do your homework. Just make sure you know what you're buying before you buy. That will really help you avoid any kind of complications that lead people to make you think that you're getting scammed when you're not really being scammed, you're just not doing your homework. The fourth point when it comes to whether or not your 401k plan is a scam is really just a matter of inflation. Now, one of the claims and the myths that you will hear when it comes to your 401k plan is that investing in the stock market simply doesn't beat inflation. That is not a true statement. When it comes to the stock market, the average return over a 30-year period from 1990 all the way up until 2020 was $24 to $1 that you've invested. So you have that kind of heavy return. Inflation is nowhere near that high historically. In fact, in the same time frame when your returns in the stock market in the S&P 500 would have been $24 off of $1 invested, inflation was only up a little bit more than $2. So that $1 in inflation, now its purchasing power is about $2 and a little bit more than 50 cents versus $24 and some change when compared to the stock market. The S&P 500 does beat inflation over that time frame, so any claims to the contrary, that should tell you that the person involved who's making those claims may not know what they're talking about or hasn't done the proper research to really understand how the stock market versus inflation works. Typically, over a long period of time, the stock market will outperform inflation. Now, of course, in any given year, the stock market may go down, there are recessions, there's other factors involved. So you do have to keep in mind that in a single year, it is possible that inflation will be higher than the amount that you get in the stock market. That can happen, but over a 30-year time frame, let's say a long period of time, you will see a positive return on your investment in the stock market when compared to inflation. And the fifth point when it comes to whether or not your 401k plan is a scam is really down to human behavior. Now, human behavior really plays a role in whether or not you have a large retirement account or not by the time that you finish your career. Typically in a 401k plan, what people don't take into account is that human behavior factors into that. So when they say, oh, you'll get half of what you will earn in a 401k plan as what you would have in alternative investments, the reality is that a lot of people just are not investing as much in their retirement accounts as they should. Alternatively, they might be taking money out of their account before it's an appropriate time, which means they're paying extra fees, they're paying taxes, they have a lot of other factors that are going on there. So when you factor in human behavior, it really impacts the outcomes of your retirement account. That might be why some people believe it is a scam, because they're not really factoring in human behavior, which plays a role in the outcomes of your retirement account. So an underfunded 401k plan may not be related to your investments. It might be related to how much you're putting in, or potentially how much you're taking out of that account when you're a little tight on money. So keep that in mind when you're looking into 401k plans, and really think through your own behavior when it comes to your 401k plans. That's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.